Welcome back to another episode of Surprise Mama.
where we talk about the shit they don't tell you.
Welcome to the Surprise Mama podcast.
Where we talk about shit they don't tell you, or just shit that no one talks about.
Yeah.
That's what we're here for.
That's what we're here for. And we have been away for a while. We were sick.
So, I'm still kind of.
I still have a little bit, yeah.
Sinus infection. It's been 3 weeks.
I think longer than that.
No, it's been longer than that. But we were trying to film the last 3 weeks.
And it just
couldn't do it.
'Tis the season.
Lovely flu season we're having.
Welcome to having children. Welcome.
Also that. But yeah, I'm Molly.
I'm Ashley.
Yeah, we're back, baby.
We are back. And today we're not talking about sicknesses, though we should sometime.
Actually, we should talk about that.
Probably
I'll add it to the list.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're talking about being active while pregnant.
Yes.
We've had a few people ask us to cover this topic. I think either they are planning on getting pregnant or they are currently pregnant.
Or they have been pregnant and they're like,
right.
How did you do that?
Right.
What did you guys do?
Right.
So,
just a little topic we're going to cover.
Mm-hmm.
So, what do we want to start with?
So, I think that we wanted to just start with what are the benefits of exercising? So
right.
Do you want to kind of cover that?
I do. I have a little list.
Yeah.
So I did get these from a reputable source, which we will list in the show notes.
Yes.
I do not remember which site. I looked up 4 sites and I don't remember which one these are from. But according to the site, it says the benefits of exercise during pregnancy are 1, reduced risk of gestational diabetes.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Preeclampsia and preterm.
Okay. So this is during pregnancy.
Yeah, if you're yeah.
Okay.
Which is those are some of the bigger scarier things that can happen while you're pregnant.
They are, but some of those are
right.
You're predisposed.
Right. It's
in some regards to those. It's not just because you didn't exercise.
No, 100%.
Just have to.
And it's just just because you are active does not mean that you're not going to develop those. It helps reduce the risk of those.
Yeah, reduce the risk is key.
Okay, this one I think I do agree with.
Okay.
Improved mood and sleep.
Probably.
Because being active just in general, it does improve your mood. Whether you're pregnant or not.
I should be active again soon.
Well, spring is right around the corner. I think that also...
Honestly, I can't wait till it's warm enough and we can walk outside. Because it looks warm outside.
I know.
But it's deceptively cold because the sun has been out recently.
I know.
But it's super freezing.
We want to keep taking our daughter for a walk. And I'm like, how many layers do we have to put on her?
So cold.
I feel so bad for her.
No. Yeah. So, I feel bad for my skin when I'm out there. I'm like, I don't want this. Yeah.
Okay. Another one, supposedly, is easier labor and delivery.
Do they say anything else about this?
I mean, they maybe, but
I wonder if that's just because your pelvic floor, as we've talked about, is kind of more stronger, prepared. I don't know. Who knows? That's a whole other.
Well, okay, I will say though, when you're in labor, it is a whole
it's a
aerobic activity.
Insane.
The breathing, it is a lot of work. So maybe the idea is if you're active and you kind of already have endurance to a certain extent,
maybe
it is just a little bit easier.
Maybe the endurance thing is kind of key there.
Again, I don't know one way or another, but I kind of like the idea. Also, I'm I would do anything to make labor and delivery easier. So,
Amen.
And this one, I think I definitely agree with. Faster postpartum recovery. I mean, I don't know.
I'm laughing because mine was so bad, but I think that could be true because what your body knows, your body will do.
Right.
So both of us have been athletes, throughout our lives, right? So what your body has been trained to do, your body will go back to quickly if you remind it. So that's just how the body works.
Mm-hmm.
The body keeps the score in many ways, but the body also learns what we teach it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I think, being active while pregnant, being active before you're pregnant.
Yeah.
These are all key things.
And I think too, if it does create an easier labor and delivery, just your postpartum recovery would be easier.
Yeah.
I think they're tied together.
It probably, yeah.
And this one, I mean, I don't know one way or the another because I'm not a doctor, but reduced risk of postpartum weight gain.
Hmm.
Maybe because if you're active while pregnant, you're more likely to be active after pregnancy, like in postpartum.
Yeah. Maybe, or maybe it reduces, well, I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm
This
getting into like
Yeah, this one I have
body
no idea.
territory
Yeah, like
here.
this one I have
But like,
yeah, I have no idea.
I don't think being active during pregnancy would necessarily reduce the amount of weight that you would
Right.
gain. I think that the amount of weight you gain has to do with a lot of other
I mean, there's a
things.
lot of factors that
Like
play into it.
so many factors, like where your health is,
Right.
like what kind of pregnancy you have, what kind of consumption of
Yeah.
food or calories, caloric intake you have. All of those things come into play.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know how I I would like to do more reading from that
Right.
source to understand why they're making those claims. Like
Yeah.
how, okay, it could reduce the amount of weight that you gain in postpartum, like while breastfeeding or whatever.
Right.
Like how and
Right.
why? Like tell me why.
Yeah. I mean,
You know
again,
what I mean?
I didn't yeah. The only thing I can
We're not like in-depth researchers here,
no.
people. We're just, we're just here to like
Cover a
converse,
topic and
cover the topic.
see what you guys have to say too.
Come at us. I mean,
Again,
if you need to, but
I really would hazard a guess it is like the assumption, or not even the assumption, but the thought that like if you're pregnant during pregnancy, maybe you're more likely to
wait,
have
say
that.
that again. If you're pregnant,
If I'm, oh my God,
if
my
you're active,
brain. If you're active,
we're sick. We're sick.
if you're
No.
active during pregnancy, maybe you're more likely to continue that postpartum, which
Postpartum.
then is also just good for your health and potential weight loss
Okay.
or
Yeah.
not weight gain.
God, are we making any sense?
I hope so.
All right,
Anywho,
we haven't filmed for a while. We're like still getting back in the groove, guys. Okay,
we got this.
we got this.
Anywho, so those are like some of the benefits. I mean, I think there's a lot more.
There are so many benefits. I think the other benefits are just like, it keeps you sane.
Right.
Um,
The mood thing.
it's the mood thing.
Improved mood. I'm like, yeah.
Improved mood. I think also it can play a big part in like we've talked about body image during
Mhm.
pregnancy. If you haven't listened to that conversation and you're new here, go back and listen to it because it actually has probably a lot to do with what we're talking about now.
Right.
But I think that this can also play a significant role in if someone is anxious about their body image,
Mhm.
like before pregnancy or during pregnancy, just remaining active can also kind of help curve some of that
Yeah.
anxiety, because you're doing what you can,
Right.
right? Obviously, you have a lot more limitations on the table when you're pregnant, especially as your pregnancy gets like further on
Yeah.
or further along. But I think just being able to move your body can like
Right.
really help with the mental state of the weight gain,
Right.
etc.
Because we talked about this earlier, like in that episode, when you're pregnant, just so much is out of your control. So there are a few things where you kind of feel like you still have at least a little bit control of, and being
Yeah.
active is potentially one of those.
Right. And being active during pregnancy, excuse me, everyone, sorry. I think that like one thing I want to say is that the goal of being active during pregnancy should not be to get in shape.
No, oh gosh, no.
And it shouldn't also be to retain the shape that you're currently in.
No. You can't.
Which is really hard because I know that I tried to do both of those things. Like mentally at some point, I was like trying to preserve where my body was. But the reality is like being active during pregnancy isn't with the end goal of like remaining thin or like
No.
remaining like super, super fit or something.
Yeah.
It's more for the benefits of like your mental health, your
Mhm.
emotional health, for the growth of your baby
Yeah.
and like all the things that your body is already doing. You're trying to come alongside that and support
Right.
what needs to be done as your body is like doing this amazing
Right.
thing and working really hard.
Right.
So I just want to make that like
No, I
point.
totally,
You know what I'm
totally
saying?
agree. Yeah, it's not like it really is just like you said to move your body.
Yeah.
To like and it doesn't even have
Yeah.
to be a lot. It can just be 15, 20 minutes a day
Or even less.
or whatever you can fit
Honestly,
in.
whatever you can fit in.
Um
Yeah.
when it's like you said, you're not trying to maintain necessarily the level that your body is out before pregnancy. Like
Yeah.
even with you like there's certain ab exercises you shouldn't do once you get to the second trimester.
Even like toward the end of your first trimester, like you might not feel
Right.
comfortable. Like I remember being like, oh, this feels weird. I
Or it's
can't do
like
this.
I ran, we'll go in this later more, but like I'm a runner and I ran pretty consistently and pretty well through most of my second trimester. Then
I
third
know other
trimester,
people who have done that too. Yeah.
like I still ran, but it was like much more limited just because I couldn't do it as much.
Hmm.
Just you're more held, and it's just like I wasn't training for a marathon in my third trimester. Like, why am I trying to
Oh,
run?
really?
I know, right? Surprise. A different kind of marathon, but
Different kind of marathon. Yeah.
it's just like, so it does like change. And then once you're, after the baby's born and after you've healed and you can get back into that thing that you really want to get back into, if that's where you're at, then that's when you can go full force back into
Yeah.
lifting, running,
Whatever
whatever
it
that
is that
was.
you're
Yeah.
doing. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So talked about that. So I feel like there are some myths
Yeah.
about being active while pregnant. Okay, even before I got pregnant and I knew much about pregnancy, a big thing for me was like, I don't think I'm really should run that much when I'm pregnant. I don't think that's like, but it's probably not allowed. I probably can't do a race while I think I was just like so scared because I've heard these different conflicting things
Mhm.
out, in the world about
Yeah.
working out and being active while you're pregnant.
Yeah.
So I do think one of them is you shouldn't be crazy, crazy active while you're pregnant, or you shouldn't do like the same level of
Yeah.
intensity while you're
I
pregnant.
think what you're trying to say is
Yeah, help me out here.
the myth is that you have to discontinue
Right.
the
Thank you.
physical activity that you are or are used to doing
Right.
while you're pregnant.
Right.
Now, I think the myth buster there is that doctors are not recommending that anymore.
Mm-mm.
So like the norm now is like if you are active, carry on being active in that way.
Right.
I think the real thing is like don't start something new
Right.
that you weren't doing. So like if you weren't lifting weights before you got pregnant, don't start lifting weights while you're pregnant.
We can do like free weights, like light free weights, but like don't.
Very light free weights,
Um,
but like don't start bench pressing, okay?
all right.
Like also like I probably wouldn't be very comfortable anyways,
Yeah.
but like use some kettlebells or whatever.
Right.
But
Right.
like if you were not running before you were pregnant,
Don't start.
consult your doctor
Right.
on like beginning to run, but like you're probably not going to want to like train for your first race while you're
Right.
pregnant.
Right.
Right? So like I think what my understanding was from everything I read and from like the conversation I had had with my OB was like, no, carry on with what you're doing
Mm-hmm.
to the point where it's comfortable
Right.
and don't start anything crazy.
Right.
She's like, Molly, if you want to, like, you need to talk to me first.
Right.
But I wasn't planning to. I was already doing a lot of other things that were not
Yeah.
physical.
Well, like when
So
I got pregnant, because we were thinking about it, or when I got pregnant, because I was a little bit nervous about it. I was like, can I still run while I'm pregnant? And she was like, Yes, you can definitely run while you're still pregnant." I'm like, "Okay, I'm planning on running a half marathon at 6 months pregnant." She was like,
totally fine.
"That is totally fine."
Uh-huh.
She's like, "You could even run a marathon if you wanted to." Because that's what I do. I run marathons.
Yeah.
She's like, "Just, your body, just feel it out."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, okay." Like,
Totally.
it was just like really reassuring that I didn't have to. Okay, in my race, I did do the half marathon. It was not very quick.
No.
It was definitely a slower
You were
race, but I
pretty
was
accurate.
able to do it.
Yeah.
But it was just relieving because again, I had heard just like over the years that like, "Oh, you really shouldn't. I don't know. You might not be able to run while you're pregnant." And I'm just like, "Oh no."
Yeah. And I just yeah, I think that this right here where it's like, okay, be active while you're pregnant, just don't start new things.
Hmm.
I think that that is becoming more widespread
Right.
knowledge. Like, I would say a couple years ago, I probably didn't know that. But now, at this point, before I got pregnant, I was like, okay, this is the norm.
Right.
Like, that it's such an outdated
Hmm.
recommendation to have a doctor say to you, no, like you should really limit your movement. Like even
Yeah.
bed
I
rest
know they've
is
changed that.
not even really like the recommendation
Suggest it. Yeah.
anymore. So like if your doctor were to ever recommend that, I would like maybe pause
Right.
and do your research.
Right.
Or like really ask why. Like
Right.
if there's a reason why you should not be moving your body during pregnancy, even in a casual manner,
Yeah.
that is something that you should like try to deeply
Right.
understand as
Right.
to why. Like, yeah. But I think those are the myths kind
Right.
of around it.
Right.
And I think as we've talked about before, I think the key is to be active before you're pregnant,
Right.
right?
That's what I said.
So,
That's what like I know a lot of women who have had 2 kids and like their first pregnancy really difficult on them, like just physically felt really tired and just not great. And then in between the first and second pregnancy, they just started walking. Like that was just like that they just were like I take a walk every day or like, a few times a week.
nice.
And then when they got pregnant for the second time, they continued the walking and they're like felt so much better.
So much better.
So much better.
So much
And I
better.
think a part of it too, like one, they just developed that habit before they got pregnant. So it's just a part of their life. It was just something
Yeah.
they did.
Mhm.
And walking is really good for you.
It is.
So it's like if you're not an active person, but you're thinking about getting pregnant sometime soon, our biggest suggestion is just take up walking.
Just literally just take up
Yeah.
walking.
Or
Like,
really, if there's something out there that you are like, I've been wanting to try X, Y, and Z, try it out. I have a friend who her the way that she's active is Dance Revolution.
oh, I love that.
Love it for her. So it's just figure out what works for you
Yeah.
in an active way and
Yeah.
then carry that on into pregnancy because
Yeah.
you can start something while you're pregnant. Like you can start walking or can start swimming or something,
Totally.
but it's easier if you
Those are
do it
gentle movements.
beforehand
It
because it's
is.
a part of your routine already.
Mhm. Mhm. And what was I going to say? I think that we've kind of hit on this a few times, but I think that when you hear, or this is just my mind, like when I hear the phrase being active while pregnant, question mark, what does that look
Mm.
like? I'm like an all or nothing person.
Uh,
So
yeah.
in my mind, I'm kind of like, that means working out. And so I'm just saying this because I think that like
Right.
when a lot of people hear that, or when anyone were to, or like when a lot of women think about this topic,
Yeah.
they're thinking about working out.
Very
We're
different.
not talking about working
Yeah.
out. And the reason I'm saying this too is because, oh my God, if you're pregnant and your algorithms figure out that
Oh
you're
God.
pregnant, you will be
Mhm.
inundated with images, with
Mhm.
videos of women who have six packs, who are pregnant, and who are doing all these crazy
Right.
workouts, okay? That is not what we're talking about. And also, I don't push for that and I don't
Yeah.
applaud that necessarily because, like, I think that body image is difficult enough
Mhm.
when you're pregnant and it's difficult enough as a woman.
Yeah.
And like that should not be your focus
No.
when you are pregnant.
No.
So like I just have to like get on my,
And
soapbox for a second and say that. But also like that's just not what we're talking about. We're talking about applauding any movement you can do when you're pregnant.
right.
Okay. And so we're both going to share our
Yeah.
experiences because our experiences, we're both very active people
Yeah, but they're different.
historically, but our experiences during pregnancy were wildly different
Yeah.
because of where we were in life.
And
And so I just think it'll be helpful to like share those two.
and two, I think also just how our pregnancies were.
Yeah, our pregnancies were way different from each
Right.
other
And
too.
that's a I mean that is obviously a really big thing. Like
Mhm.
I have friends who also run but like couldn't run their first trimester because they were so sick.
Right. And your pregnancy play like what your pregnancy is like and
Yeah.
how you feel in it plays a significant
Right.
role in how active you can be
Right.
or what kind of activity you can do. So,
And it's like going to vary very differently from first trimester to third trimester.
yeah, because when you get into your second trimester, you like feel if hopefully, I've had friends that feel sick throughout.
No, I know.
So
Yeah.
sorry. But like for the most part, you're gonna feel pretty good when you get to
Right.
your second trimester. All of a sudden you have energy again and you're like, oh, I can like
Right.
function,
I could do something. This is
Yeah,
great.
exactly. So, anyways, I just wanted to make that
Yeah.
point because I think that any movement you can do during pregnancy, you should applaud
Right. a
and
hundred
like
percent.
aim for, but like it helps so much to be active before you're
Yeah.
pregnant.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But if you have to reduce that or if you have to kind of change what that looks like,
Mhm.
it's okay.
Yeah.
Just be kind to yourself. Don't be a jerk to yourself like we were. Honestly, we're
Oh,
probably
yeah, probably.
assholes to ourselves.
Probably, yeah.
We really were. Like, we were so hard on ourselves. And we were hard on ourselves in postpartum.
I
So
know.
I'm just saying that, like, now that I'm on the other side of it, I'm like,
Right.
dang, I wish that I would have been a little nicer to
Well,
myself.
and it's like when you're pregnant, it is kind of, and it took me a long time to come to terms with this, but it is a year of your life
Yeah.
that is going to be very different.
And kind of hard.
Right. Like, and just like letting go of that,
Yeah.
you're just like, oh, this is kind of freeing.
Yeah. And like,
Makes it
if I
easier.
were to ever have another child, I'm like, okay, I would approach the way I think about my body, the way that I approach like my own body image so differently.
Yeah.
Because like even now, postpartum, it's like, okay, I have not been super active or anything like that. Um, but I would say mentally, I'm actually more happy with my body than I've
Yeah. Oh,
ever been
I agree.
in my whole life.
Mm-hmm.
And I think part of that is because I don't have the time and quote unquote luxury to examine myself so
Mm-hmm.
closely. And there is a freedom in that.
Yeah.
There is a serious freedom in that in being a mom. Like the mom bod is actually like kind of freeing in some ways if you embrace whatever your
Yeah.
body is as you're like being a mom.
I'm.
And I just like want to say that because I think it's really cool and I've realized that recently and I'm like really happy about where I am.
I was thinking about that the other day too. I was like, man, I don't really care as much as I did before.
I don't
I just
even
like,
it's
um,
there's so many reasons,
I just like
but it's
don't
like
have time. Like you, I don't have time to like sit there and like think about my body as much. I mean, it still like creeps in there for sure. It's not
yeah,
like totally gone, but
yeah,
I'm just kind of like, and honestly, I'm like, I've stayed pretty consistent for the past like, I don't know how many. Like it's fine. Like, I don't care anymore. Who am I trying to impress? I'm married.
I know.
Like I have friends.
But this
You
is
know, like,
everyone's struggle,
oh, I
right?
know, I
But I
know.
just think that like what I was saying is you kind of get to a point where you're like I don't have the luxury, but frankly like I wouldn't go back to the luxury
No, yeah,
of time that I had to like really think about my self-image
right.
because I like I would say that like I have to get dressed for work every day and I like leave the house and I'm like, okay, I still have my standards. Like, don't get
Right.
me wrong, I haven't stripped those away.
Like
I am like I was just raised in a way where it's like you don't leave the house in your pajamas, you put makeup on, you make sure your hair is brushed. Like those standards have not left my household, okay?
my household and
But like
no fun.
but like what I'm saying is that I'm like it's just good enough.
Right.
I pick out an outfit. I might hate that outfit
But it
like
works.
later in the day and I'm like, "Ugh, why did I choose this?" But it's like, okay,
Well, also when
we've left
you're
the house, folks. Like we got to go.
it's like when I'm trying to get my daughter dressed and her food put together and like
Other
making sure
priorities.
her hair has been brushed, which is like a nightmare. It's just like
Yeah.
I don't have as much time, yeah,
It's
to
also
like
like probably a wrestling match.
literally a wrestling match.
Mm,
So it's yeah, I just don't have
no doubt.
as much time. I just don't have as much time.
Yeah. Yeah. But we digress.
We do got we were talking about
We
yeah.
we digress. I just sorry, I went down
No,
a
I think it
little
was good.
trail, but I just think that like so much of body image um before pregnancy, during pregnancy, after pregnancy plays into how we think about
Right.
our bodies like all the time.
Right.
But I guess the point I'm just trying to make is that it changes. Like
Yeah.
the way that you think about your body and the reasons that you choose to be active are
Mhm.
different than they are before you're pregnant. And then they're different while you're pregnant. And then the goal changes like after you're pregnant.
Yeah.
And all of that just kind of folds into how you think about your body and how it looks and
Yeah.
your interaction with your own body
Yeah.
image and self-image. I think it's just kind of cool like as a mom, there's a lot that you have to let go of.
Yep.
And I think that like, the more that you can be kind to yourself and applaud what you can do while you're pregnant, which is a really hard
Yeah.
thing,
Yeah.
like the better you're going to set yourself up for success of the things that like you kind of have to like go with the flow of once you're a mom.
Yes.
So that's like I guess what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. And it's like I mean, I can go into like my
Yeah.
okay.
Why don't you share your experience and then I'll kind of.
Because my comment was gonna yeah.
Yeah.
So when I was pregnant, I worked out. I love working out.
Yeah.
But before I was pregnant, I was really into I ran, but I was really into like doing free weights and like ab exercises because that was like I don't know, the
That was your
phase of
thing.
life I was in,
Yeah, you
which
could.
was kind of nice when I was pregnant because I did a lot of free weights. But I did a lot of that while I was pregnant through like the second trimester, but I stopped doing ab like exercises during like second trimester because
Yeah.
one they kind of tell you to because like laying on your back is not like
Oh,
the
it's
best.
so
It's not
uncomfortable.
very
It's
comfortable.
also like you shouldn't
Right.
be. Yeah.
Also, and this is what we've talked about this multiple times, but
Yeah.
like my abs ended up being too tight during delivery
I remember you saying
and it
that.
caused I'm not going to say it caused issues, but like trying to feel a contraction was literally impossible.
So
Like
your
nobody
abs
could.
never split.
They never split,
Oh my
which meant
god.
that like my daughter went up instead of out. So
Oh.
like I wasn't very big, but I couldn't breathe very well cuz she was like more like in my lung area.
Oh my god.
So being fit is cool, but it also like
Comes at a cost.
yeah, like it changes. So,
Yeah.
but I had stopped. Yeah, I mean that they kind of tell you to stop doing ab exercises not for that reason, but because it's like your abs need a little bit of
I
separation.
mean, your baby needs
Right.
places to go.
Right.
Like
So,
needs space.
but I definitely ran through my whole pregnancy, and then like I fortunately did not feel very sick during my pregnancy. So like even the first trimester, I was able to stay pretty active.
That's really
I
nice.
know I was like very very grateful.
Yeah.
And so during my second trimester is when I ran a half marathon,
Okay.
which was really really fun. I was really proud of myself. I was so worried I was gonna like pee my pants while I was running.
Oh, that's so
But I
true.
did like stop at a porta potty one time, which I'd never stop at porta potties during races. But I was
But
like,
pregnant.
I know I was like at one point I was like, did I pee my pants? I have got to go check, and I didn't. It was, but I was just like, this is.
You kind of like lose a little bit of bladder control
You
like
do. Well, it's
as
just
it
like
gets like more and more
it's
pressurized.
the pressure.
Yeah, the pressure.
Um, but then after I ran the half, I definitely kept running, but it was not the same. Like I did a lot more treadmill running,
Mm.
so I would like earlier third my third trimester, I would do like I would watch a show.
Yeah.
And so during the actual show, I would run, and during the commercial break, I would walk. And then through my through my third trimester, that flipped. So I'd
Oh,
walk during the show and then run during the commercial break.
I love
So it
it.
was like a minute of running,
Yeah,
5 minutes of walking, and just
that's
like
great.
because it changes, and
That's cool.
while I was running, and just like, and also I wasn't training for anything. I was in my third trimester. I just wanted to maintain some level of movement and activity. And I do remember there was a time, I think it must have been after my half marathon, that I was running on the treadmill and I felt this like jolt of pain.
Ooh.
And I immediately stopped and I was like,
Oh my gosh.
okay, this is like, I should just wait and hold off. And luckily I had an appointment that week.
Yeah.
So I just didn't run in it until I went to that appointment. I asked her about it and she was like, everything looks fine. I'm glad you stopped. Like, that's what you should
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
She was like, it may have just been like a muscle spasm or something. And it just like, it hurt
Or a
so bad.
It wasn't like a Braxton.
No, it wasn't like
Because those don't really hurt.
no. It was just like, so she was like, listen to your body. That's the biggest thing. It was like, just listen to your body. Like, she's like, I know you're a runner. I know
Yeah.
that you do, long distance racing,
Yeah.
but just listen to what your body can do
Yeah.
and then stop when your body is telling you to stop.
Yeah. That's all you can do.
Right. So it was like, and that was also like really comforting for me too. I'm like, okay, good. Like, so again, as I was going into my third trimester and further into my third trimester, it's just like, my body doesn't need this. Like, I don't need to keep running.
So did you stop?
I mean, I did like the running on the treadmill during commercials. So it was like, even the
Okay.
day I was induced, I did like 4 miles walk run.
Okay.
But again, it was like a very slow, you know,
4 miles.
amount of time. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
But then when after, but I think that was like, it was kind of nice because I did that. And then pretty soon after I had my daughter, I started up the walk run again.
Yeah. Yeah. You did.
Just because I think my body, again, because I've been running for a very, very long time and I was able to maintain some sort of consistency through pregnancy, my body was after, and I had a very easy postpartum
Well, you had
recovery.
other stuff that was hard in your
I
postpartum,
did.
but I would say
Yeah.
physically, like as far as tearing, all that stuff,
Right.
like it wasn't too bad
No.
for you.
So I
So
was
you
able
were
to
able to like kind of go
pick it
yeah,
back up pretty
that too.
easily. So that
Yeah.
was like I was really grateful for that.
Yeah. That's
So
great.
yeah, I think my biggest thing was I just maintained what I could as long as I could and then listened to my body after that.
And that's great.
Right.
That's like it's nice to hear that experience because that's not I just feel like that's not what we hear a lot,
Right.
you know? I think that mostly what we see are these short clips online of like women doing intense workouts and you're like, okay, but like how do I situate that for myself, you
Right.
know?
Right.
So yeah, I'm glad that you were able to be active during pregnancy because you're one of my few friends that have been.
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
We're active.
Yeah.
You and I both. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I would say so with my experience like um I w- I've been active my whole life. I'm not going to get into the whole history, but like
Molly
I
was a dancer for a really long time.
I was a dancer. My degree is actually in dance.
I love it.
So I work in finance now.
It really translated super well.
Yeah.
Um,
Um I mean I use a lot of those skills. They translate in many ways, the problem solving.
okay, yeah, like that kind of
There's a
stuff.
lot, yeah. But the physicality of it, not
Yeah,
so
no.
much. But so anyways, yeah, I really value being active.
Right.
And I had similar worries going into
Hmm.
pregnancy as you. Um, but what was weird about my situation was I went from being incredibly active right before I was pregnant. Like I was in great shape, you know.
Had you done like a triathlon right before, or like not too long
I had
before?
done one a couple months
Okay.
beforehand, and then like I had done one that spring, and I got pregnant in like I think August. I got pregnant like mid
Right.
August.
Yeah.
So I had done a triathlon, and I was just like lifting weights. I was going to the gym, and I just felt really good. Like
Yeah.
I was really strong.
Hmm.
I think I was like the strongest that I've ever
You were
been.
like, I feel awesome.
Yeah, like I just had like my muscles, like I was just really strong, and I
Hmm.
felt good about that. But that was my goal because I also knew that
Right.
my pregnancy could potentially be um complicated in terms of where my back pain
Right.
because I do have a lot of issues with my back. I was a dancer,
You're
so
like,
you know, it's fine. And so the two things that went on during my pregnancy that caused me to be really inactive.
yeah.
So I went from being active to being very inactive during my pregnancy. So when I mentioned this in the past, but like right when I got pregnant, actually the day I found out that I got pregnant was also the day I started studying for what's called the Series 65. If you know what that is, then you're probably saying, I'm very sorry for you. But yes, I started studying for the Series 65. It's a securities license exam. A lot of people in the finance industry get it. It basically it makes you a registered investment advisor. Okay. So this was like a really big goal for me.
Right.
I knew that I wanted to get this. I was like determined to do this, even though it was one of the hardest things that I've ever done. Where I know that there's other people out there who would just like smoke me with it, but like it was truly
You just knew
one
it.
of the hardest things that I've
It was
ever
gonna take
done.
a lot of studying from
But also
you.
I was pregnant
Yeah.
while I was studying for like one of the most complicated
Right.
tests that I will probably ever take.
Right.
So, being pregnant, like it's very hard in your first trimester, okay? Like mentally, you're just kind of like, I don't know what's happening, but I cannot think straight.
Also, there's just so many hormones in your first trimester. Like your body's being
You're
flooded
so
with
messed
so
up.
many hormones.
You're
Yeah.
messed up, okay? Like you're tired,
Yeah.
you're sore, you're just exhausted. Like you're so tired. And so I had all of that going on, but I was studying. So I was working full time,
Hmm.
and then I'd come home and I would literally sit at the dining room table for like 3 hours.
Right.
But the problem with that is that it made my tailbone hurt so badly
Oh.
because like I was like it's actually been better postpartum. I think pushing out a baby like kind of like changed where my pelvic floor
Oh,
like
maybe.
kind of shifted things.
Maybe.
Like thank goodness. I actually had hope for that, so
You're
I
like,
was
maybe
like,
this will be maybe this will help
like
me.
I think it kind of helped. But like yeah, I just had incredible sciatic pain. Um, and so by the time I got through and passed my 65, I was almost to my third trimester.
Yeah.
Okay. So I was like late into my second trimester, I think.
Mhm.
And because of that and because of my back pain, I was like, okay, I'm pretty limited.
Right.
I don't have much time.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't have much energy left over. So, what I did do, like throughout my pregnancy, is I took the stairs at work
Oh.
every day.
Yeah.
So, Frank, granted, I'm very afraid of the elevators in my office
So
building.
it wasn't like because you were like, I should take the stairs.
No, but I know it was that though, because I knew that that was the only thing I could do.
Right.
Right? And so I would trudge up those 5 flights to the top
That
of
is a lot.
our office building because I'm up on the top floor. And I was like, okay, I can do this. And
Right.
it was slow going because like the further you get into your pregnancy, the less VO2, the
Yeah.
less like
Yeah.
lung capacity you have. So it starts to get really hard to do elevation particularly. But I just kept doing it.
Right.
And I wouldn't say that it got easier. In fact, I would get up to
I mean, I
the
feel
top
like
floor.
harder.
Sometimes I would get up to the top floor and I would be so out of breath. I was fine. Like I wasn't like overdoing it. If I felt like I needed to stop,
Mhm.
I would just take a beat like for 10 seconds and then I would just like keep going
Yeah.
up a couple more flights. But I did that every day and honestly, I think it really helped me
Yeah.
because I was like this is like like a spurt of energy
Yeah.
that I'm doing here.
Yeah.
And it was like really hard, but I would use my glutes, I would use my legs, I would like engage my whole
Stairs are
core.
really hard. Like if you do a lot of them,
And I was doing
it's
cardio basically
yeah.
because I was pregnant.
I mean, yeah.
So I would get up to the top, and I remember there was this one time, one of my coworkers, I got up, I come in through the stairwell door, and he's standing in the hallway, and I'm like, hi, like literally, like so out of breath, and he goes, take it easy, Molly.
You're
Seriously,
like,
take it easy. He looks at my stomach and he looks at me and he goes, seriously, take it easy. And I was like, I'm fine. And he's like,
you're just like
are
sweating.
are
Like
you okay? And I was like, I am. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good.
okay,
But I was like known for taking the stairs when I was pregnant.
it's
I'd just be
good.
like, pass me, pass me.
Like I'll be there in a minute, guys.
But what I'm saying, and the reason I'm bringing that up too, is because to my point earlier, do what you can.
Right, 100%.
Right?
I love that.
That is
Yeah.
what I could do. And like sometimes Ryan and I would go on walks, but like I said, I had a lot of sciatic pain.
Right.
I had a lot of lower back pain. I had shooting pain in my tailbone.
Right.
Like, I just like as the pressure in my pregnancy and as my daughter got bigger, I carried her really low.
Yeah.
And so it was hard for me. It was tough. And but yeah, but I did what I could.
No,
And I think that that's the principle.
no, I do
You
like
know?
that a lot
And I
because
came
it
out
means
okay on the other side, you
right,
guys.
like
It's fine.
yeah, do what you can. Like it might look like something like that where it's just well,
Taking the stairs.
I'm at work every day and there's 3 flights of stairs and that's just what it's going to be.
No,
Or
it's 5. It was 5.
right. Or it's like
But like, yeah,
or
but
even
do
little
what you can.
or like I have to go to the grocery store every day or not every week. I have to go to the grocery store every week. Let me do an extra lap around the grocery store. Like
There you go.
really like anything. Or I'll park my car further away from the grocery store
Or from the office
or whatever it is. So it's like I can
so
get a
true.
little extra like
It's so true.
really literally anything just to add a little bit of activity into
Yeah.
your life.
Just moving, getting the
Right.
blood flowing. That's all.
Right.
So, anything else?
I don't think so.
Yeah. I think we covered the major points. Like
Right.
busted some myths that hopefully you already knew.
Yeah.
And just like the benefits of being active. I feel like we could all do more research about that.
Right.
And then yeah, I think just like the key is like being active before you're pregnant.
Right.
That's like
and doing what you can.
Yeah.
Again, like, yeah, the
Doing
biggest
what you can
thing
is like that's our biggest point, I think.
and like if you are already an active person, just continuing what you are doing. And as long as you can and as long as your doctor says it's okay to.
Yeah,
And like
defer to
listen
your
to your
doctor.
body. Like the biggest thing also is listen to your body.
Yeah.
So it's like do what you can for as long as you can, but also be very cognizant of what your body is telling you, what you can and cannot do. Like you had sciatic pain. You couldn't do a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And like I've had other friends who they got to a certain point and they're like, the way that my baby is in my stomach and is what it's pushing, like I just can't run anymore. I can't do X, Y, and Z. It's like at a certain point, like I said before, you're not going to be training for a marathon your third trimester. You're not going to be trying to like do at a Tour de France, your third trimester. So it's like figure out what you can do for as long as you can. But the reality is you're going to have a baby at some point and you're going to be postpartum and you'll have a few weeks or months where you just being active will be very difficult. So
Yeah. And maybe we can talk about that sometime.
Yeah.
Because that was really difficult for me.
Right. Yeah.
But it looks different for each person, just depending on what kind of pregnancy you had.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very true.
So anywho,
nice
to be back.
I know it's nice to be back.
Nice to be back. Do you like our new setup?
We're trying something new.
Yeah, we were like, let's ditch the table and see
Right.
how it goes.
Trying to be more chill and relaxed. We'll see how it goes. It might be different next time. Who knows?
Who knows? I mean, yeah.
We're always changing it. Like why not? It's kind of fun.
Yeah. All right. So where can we find us? Where can
they can find us? I feel like we said that last time too.
Did we?
I think on accident, yeah.
Oh, whoops.
Anywho, TikTok and Instagram at Surprise Mama. Our Facebook group that we're trying to grow, but we're
sick for a while.
We were sick for a while, so we're on Facebook as well.
We are.
And then
you can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. You can watch and listen to us on YouTube.
Yes. Yep. And then like and subscribe. My husband keeps telling us to tell people to like and subscribe because it actually does really help. I just kind of keep forgetting to say it
too, and I get shy about asking.
Me too. I feel the same way. I hate doing it, but apparently it's a good thing to do. So
help us.
Okay, that was desperate. Okay, thank you for listening.
Bye. See you soon. Bye.